Good evening. You're watching Kenya's third most preferred TV station. This is Switch TV News at 7. I am Lincoln Wambogo. Sign language interpreter is Michael Maithy, and these are the top stories. President Kenyatta summons ODM leader Raila Odinga and One Kenya Alliance leaders to yet another meeting in Mombasa. Kenyans to pay more for bottled water in new tax regime. And from the sports desk, Kenya disqualified for lane infringement in the 4x400 meters mixed relays, shattering its hopes of clinching a medal at the ongoing Under-20 Athletics Championship. Glad you're watching. Send in your feedback and comments to our SMS line 111 Switch TV Kenya, and a link on Wambogo on all social media handles. Our 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. Kenyans will have to pay up to 10 shillings more for bottled water as bottlers and manufacturers move to factor in the tax-related costs. Kenya Revenue Authority has imposed a new 10% excise duty on articles of plastic. The new tax regime is expected to take effect on 20th August this year. Scott Marioki with more on this story.
It's been 2 weeks since manufacturers were alerted on a new 10% excise tax, a tale that has become quite popular in recent times. Manufacturers and bottlers in the country have been left in disarray after they were alerted on the introduction of yet another tax, this time on articles of plastic. Water is also taxed an excise duty of 6 shillings per litre, up from 5 shillings, which was among a raft of measures introduced under the Finance Act of 2021 that took effect from 1st of July.
That there was a new taxation, actually excise, on plastic material under the code 3923.3000, and it caught the industry by surprise, including people who do manufacture plastic and who sell us the packaging materials. Remember, we are already struggling with the tax on water on the product itself at a rate of 5.74 shillings per litre.
According to the Water Bottle Association of Kenya chairperson Henry Kabogo, the excise tax on articles of plastic, which includes labels, seals, and wrapping material, has already led to an increase in the price of bottles by a margin of 12%, and as a result will lead to increased water prices.
So if you look at the two taxes and the two increments, first of all, the 10% and this other one, that is going to translate to about 18 to 20% on the price increase on the final product. And remember, what we've been fighting, what we've been complaining about is about taxation on water, because water is a dignity that should be enjoyed by everyone.
It is estimated that about 17 million Kenyans, or 43% of the country's population, do not have access to clean water. This new tax will make it even more difficult for majority of the population to get access to clean water. The move will also lead to loss of jobs, since a lot of manufacturers will be forced to reduce the operation costs as they factor in the new tax.
You look at where do you cut costs. If KRA increases the tax on one hand, then you have to reduce the number of personnel. You also have to reduce your production.
Bottled water businesses in Nairobi are also facing a further blow as the country seeks to amend the law for a complete ban on the manufacture, import, export, use, or offer for sale of plastic carrier bags and plastic material. This puts over 1,000 companies of packaging water on the line, with over 50 companies manufacturing plastic containers facing closure. The new tax will bring about yet another expense Kenyans have to deal with amidst one of the toughest economic situations in the country. Scott Marioki, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Scott Marioki. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has again met with ODM leader Raila Odinga and the One Kenya Alliance Brigade in Mombasa today for more talks believed to be on succession politics. The meetings are part of President Kenyatta's efforts to unite them and have them back when presidential candidate ahead of next year's election. According to members of the Linda Katiba movement, Kenya is in a crisis, adding that more guidelines should be streamlined to solve the menace in the economy and corruption. Miriam Jahid with more on this story.
Mumba, an outstant member of the Linda Katiba movement, has castigated how worship areas are being used by the politicians as the avenues for breeding corruption while addressing a joint forum of religious organization.
I've gone into a church in this country where a politician who is a known thief, I'll not talk about him, there are many, and because there are many of them, is entering the church in my rural home, and the clergyman stops in the middle of a sermon and says, "Let us welcome so and so." And immediately that happens, he is invited to the pulpit to desecrate the pulpit. When a country has reached those levels, then that country needs not only prayers but action.
As politics realignment takes shape ahead of the 2022 general elections, it has prompted politicians to merge their political parties so as to attract more votes, as every region is eyeing to field a candidate to vie for presidential position. However, PLO Lumumba has called out political leaders who are using their tribal fame to bargain in forming coalitions despite constitution stipulating national unity.
Ethnic warlords who have hypnotized their constituencies, and they have succeeded in telling them that if one of your own does not occupy the prized office, then you are in danger.
NAK Kenya party leader Martha Karua has also faulted the panel tasked with the role of filling the void in the position of the IBC commissioners, saying it came up with wrong individuals after what she terms as shoddy interviews. In a nutshell, the movement has urged the government to implement policies that will guide the country as they feel the state is an inch closer to failing. It's a day after a day, political coalitions are being formed in preparation to 2022 general elections, but the question still remains, are the interests of Mwananchi being impacted on those coalitions? Mariam Jahid, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mariam Jahid. Deputy President William Ruto has dismissed the Azimio la Umoja strategic plan launched by ODM leader Raila Odinga with an aim of uniting the country ahead of the 2022 polls. Ruto says Kenyans have no problem with March's unity, but instead the focus should be on the economy. The Deputy President spoke earlier today when he met and consulted with more than 600 Nairobi County political aspirants drawn from UDA at his current residence. The Deputy President has assured that UDA party nominations will be free, fair and credible.
And they want to continue with the narrative, there is a problem amongst Kenyans. And they want to continue with the handshake. We are telling them, my friends, the former handshake brought problems to us. We lost everything. If you tell us we continue with the same thing, then we have to be mad people to continue doing the same thing and to expect different results. We are telling them, there is no problem amongst Kenyans. There is a problem with the economy. We want to sort out the economy. We have a plan on how to sort out the economy. And I want to tell our competitors, in UDA, number one, we have a track record. We have demonstrated that we built the railway, we built the roads, we connected electricity, we did DTI. We have a track record, number one. Number two, we have a plan. And already they are part of our plan because we told them we are going to change the conversation, and the conversation has changed. We are now discussing matters economy in Kenya.
No politician should force citizens to understand and believe the ideology about the economy whatsoever. This is according to economist David D, who has criticized politicians' selfish moves on citizens for their gains ahead of the 2022 general elections. Robert Homer reports.
As the country is warming up for the 2022 polls, leaders in different parties eyeing spots in the elections are doing their best to gain trust of their followers. Many persuading citizens on the basis of improving the stunted country's economy. However, according to economists, the country could be heading to a wrong direction if politicians are left to decide which economy suits the country and which one does not.
A lot of Kenyans seem to be sort of lost by a shift of the political locus to economic issues, but that is as it should be. Those are the issues that is where people's interests are. And it is not possible to build a consensus on economic agenda, economic policy, for the simple reason that people have very different interests.
He has also debunked the constitutional changes as proposed by BBI proponents, saying that it is a game plan among politicians for their own gains.
The constitution has to be obeyed, and the reason why it is not working is because there are counter-reformist forces who do not want the transformative agenda of that constitution. They feel that they are against that transformative agenda, perhaps because they feel it is a sort of against their economic and political interests.
All eyes and cameras are now panned to the Court of Appeal, which is yet to give verdict on the BBI case on Friday. At a time when political scenes are getting intense and the country gearing up for the 2022 general elections, economists say that proper models should be considered for a better life in the future. Robert Ouma, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Robert Omer. The Central Kenya Jubilee Caucus is now advocating for new leadership at the helm of the party, saying that the party has lost its vibrance as a front for mobilization of grassroots votes. The leaders are now calling for a thorough cleaning for their grassroots leadership as they seek to replace some who abandoned the party with loyalists. Shillinga Teach with more.
Inside the plot to reclaim the Mount Kenya political turf, which has been heavily invaded by opponents in the last 2 years, less than 11 months to the general elections, the home team feels consolidation of their votes would push them over the line against their opponents in matters of national interests.
It, however, would be foolhardy to ignore the recent developments in the party that have cost Jubilee the vibrancy it once had.
Under the plan, the Central Kenya Political Caucus, led by Laikipia Governor Ndiritu Murithi, they are of the opinion of overhauling of the top honchos of the party.
We all know the challenges we have had in Jubilee. We had part of our colleagues who left and joined other political parties.
Further to the much anticipated changes, consolidation of the votes will be spearheaded by revamping the grassroots political business, which, according to the IBC data of 2017, the Mount Kenya bloc has over 2.1 million registered voters.
Taanza na kule kwa ward, tutafute wale officials wa chama ambao wamesimama imara.
This is our party, we will not watch our party die.
As the clock ticks against time for the president's backyard, much will be needed in order to bring the region together, as various leaders are now moving with speed, calling for the unity of purpose. Shillinga Teach, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Well, Shillinga Teach's story takes us to a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Maithia. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. As the general elections timer continues ticking, it's a race by political leaders and parties to shelve in a coalition in readiness for the polls. This coming a day after more than 3 coalitions met yesterday to begin formulating plans to use in the elections. And as Daniel Karaoke reports, political coalitions seem evidence as the most certain route to achieve an elections victory.
In what seems as a rush to beat time 11 months to the next general elections in Kenya, political heavyweights and parties are aligning themselves to coalitions to be favorites in taking over the next government. The game of power sharing is now the route most political leaders and parties are taking. In just one day, One Kenya Alliance, a coalition of ANC, Ford Kenya, Wiper and KANU met in Nakuru County, but at a different location with a coalition of ODM leader Raila Odinga, which he is crafting together with a section of Mount Kenya leaders, sources revealing they are backed by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Meanwhile, the country's ruling party, Jubilee and ODM, also confirmed coalition talks with its once biggest opponent, the ODM party. At the same time, a coalition dubbed Mount Kenya Forum Coalition by Martha Karua of NARC Kenya, Moses Kuria of Chama cha Kazi, Mwangi Kiunjuri of TSP, united 6 political parties, all from the Mount Kenya region. It is evident that politics in Kenya are tied to coalitions, but Deputy President William Ruto has a different opinion when it comes to his campaign strategy.
Si njia ni kutafuta a better plan. Lakini kusema tu mnataka kuungana.
Reading from books of history, every government taking power in Kenya since 2002 has used a coalition to take the reins of power. In preparation for the 2002 elections, the National Alliance Party of Kenya, formerly NARC, allied itself with the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, to form the National Alliance of Rainbow Coalition, which on December 27, 2002, won by a landslide over KANU. In 2007, the winning party, PNU, started out as a coalition of several parties including KANU, NARC Kenya, Ford Kenya, Ford People, Democratic Party, Shirikisho, National Alliance Party of Kenya, among others. Fast forward, in 2013, President Uhuru's then political party, TNA, won the general elections with Deputy President William Ruto's URP, which had signed a pre-election coalition pact. A pact that was sealed in 2017 after 11 parties, including URP, TNA, Ford People, UDF, among others, merged to form Jubilee. With the magician's trick no longer remaining a secret to clenching power in Kenya, coalitions remain to be the best path route for any individual or party to clench the seat to any government. Daniel Karaoke for Switch TV, Nairobi County.
Thank you, Daniel Karaoke. Senators from various counties led by Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka met at Lee Funeral Home to view the body of the late nominated Senator Victor Prengay. Prengay died in a road accident on Monday night along Kabrak, Nakuru Road.
On behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I want to convey our sincere message of condolence to the family, friends and relatives for this big loss. Prengay has been with us in the Senate. He's been a very calm fellow, a senator who was very passionate about land matters. Remember, he comes from a minority, and anytime he stood to talk or pursued anything, it had to do with land matters, and no wonder he was the vice chair of the Committee of Lands and Environment. I remember him so well, especially during the BBI discussions. He's the one we called upon after everybody had contributed. He's the one we called upon to conclude or end the debate on the BBI. So we shall all miss him. It's been unfortunate. We continue praying for the family. You know, we've lost, this is the 4th senator that we have lost.
Progress towards health financing to aid in the realization of universal health coverage in the country. Speaking during an event organized by Medical Credit Fund, East Africa Credit Bank CEO Betty Korir has said in order to improve access to better quality healthcare in the country, there is a need for concerted effort to address key financial challenges to ensure sustainability of healthcare systems in the country. Moving on, cyber attacks have been termed as a thorn in the flesh for suckers over the COVID-19 pandemic period. Further research has found that even as mobile money and online banking grows, suckers are unprepared to abide with the data protection laws. As our reporter Brian Mwenda narrates, suckers have also been urged to campaign for a change in mindset among the youth regarding joining suckers.
Are you members of SACCOs?
With the tremendous growth in mobile money and banking, cyber attacks have proven to be a major liability in growing circuits towards technological growth.
On behalf of Seriano,
a report on SACCOs by cybersecurity consulting firm Seriano indicates that savings and credit institutions are investing significant resources towards technology and security, but not prepared to adhere by the data protection law.
This complexity of ICT risk factors summarized as follows: a vast number of systems that they're utilizing within the organization, an expanding branch network, an increase in IT network connectivity.
these are the people
Dr. Catherine Gahu, Chief Executive Chairperson of CBO Research, has called on Kenyan SACCOs to embrace radical initiatives including sharing technology infrastructure instead of each SACCO investing in its own, merging to achieve larger economics of scale and implementing better membership engagement programs.
But much of this task-based work is being automated. And with that automation comes a shift to more collaborative, more project-based, and more creative working arrangements.
SACCOs have also been asked to campaign for change in mentality among the youth, as a large section of youth believe that SACCOs are for the elderly.
Maybe one of the statistics that you need to track when you go back, how many members do you have that are below 35? Does your membership age structure reflect the Kenyan age structure?
Now, cyber insecurity has proven to be a thorn in the flesh of SACCOs. But the big question for today is, do you feel secure with your information or data with your SACCO? Brian Mwenda, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Brian Mwenda. WhatsApp messaging app has recently released a slew of new features and updates to its Android and iOS apps. The company has announced joinable calls, view ones, and so much more. There is a lot to explore on the new WhatsApp application. Here's our very own Apollo James with the top 3 new features on WhatsApp for iOS and Android that are now at your disposal.
View Once feature. Social media platforms have followed Snapchat to introduce a feature that allows the receiver to view photos and videos once before they disappear. WhatsApp is the latest application to adopt this View Once feature. If you send a photo or video using this feature, they will be deleted straight after being opened and viewed. As per the company, this feature is useful for sending temporary information like passwords. Joinable calls feature. WhatsApp introduced this feature in July. It allows users to jump into a voice or video calls after the calls have begun. Just like other services like Google Meet and Zoom, people who miss the start of a group video conversation can join at any time during the call. Up until the release of this feature, you had to hang up and restart a call if you wanted to let a new person in. Android to iOS and vice versa. There are several users who wanted to switch platforms from Android to iOS or vice versa, but are not able to do so because of the fear of losing all their WhatsApp data. Well, things are changing now. Previously, there was no way to move your chat history from one system to another. However, you can now use the Smart Switch feature to back your chat history and files and transfer them to a new phone. Have you tried any of these features yet? All of these are now available on the stable WhatsApp app on both Android and iOS. Apollo James, Switch TV.
And from the sports desk, Kenya has been disqualified for lane infringement in the 4x400 meters mixed relays, shattering his hopes of clinching a medal at the ongoing